Hello and welcome to There's No Business Like, a podcast where friends and industry colleagues explore topics and interview leaders in our industry of professional theatrical touring.
Hey, welcome back to There's No Business Like. I'm Josh Benson with the Marion Cultural and Civic Center in Marion, Illinois.
And I'm Kevin Maynard coming at you from Tallahassee with opening nights at Florida State University.
Today, we are kind of talking about where we're headed in the future with the podcast. We have been doing this podcast now for about 2.5 years, and we want to just kind of talk about where we are headed with it. And before that, let's talk just a little bit about where we've been, how we got started, how we came together as a podcast. We were originally brought together as a group to discuss ideas by Michael Mashala and Christine Cox. And the five of us really just kind of clicked immediately, and we knew that there was something there. And then as we were kind of exploring that, we came up with the idea of starting a podcast together. The reason for that podcast is that during the pandemic, we saw so much of our industry, as far as industry colleagues, leave, and a lot of institutional knowledge walking out the door, walking out of the industry. And we wanted to make it a lot easier for new people coming into the industry to kind of pick up on some of that institutional knowledge, pick up on some of the established practices and procedures and how we do things in this industry. That way they can get their career going a lot faster than any of us did by learning the hard way.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about that, Josh, is that we started doing this almost selfishly as well, because we learned in our careers that by reaching out to folks, networking, talking with people, like we learned so much more. And I can say from experience, this podcast, being on the interview side of this and doing the ins and outs, I mean, I've learned quite a bit. And there's a lot of things that I've put into practice in my own business just from being a part of this.
And in interest of being selfish, I fully agree. I've gained so much out of the conversations that we've had, the people that we've talked to, the connections we've made. And we've done that through our standard format, which has been, we will record an interview with someone, and then the five of us will listen to the interview and then discuss it afterwards. And that has worked really well for us up until now. It has not stopped working well for us. And we've interviewed people all the way from sound technicians to in touring houses to a Tony Award-winning sound operator on Broadway. We've interviewed people from new and upcoming artists who are just starting to transition into the PAC world to artists like Mark Morris, who have built a legacy over decades within our industry.
Yeah, and don't forget Peter Noon. I mean, what
Peter
a
Noon,
great
he's
episode
a small
was.
name there that we brought in. So it has been such a wide-ranging group of people that have been present on this podcast and talked about their experiences and what their experiences within the performing arts and touring world have been. Through all of that, we've grown, like we just said. What we have been able to do with this podcast and move forward in this podcast, the doors that it's opened up for us, industry and connection-wise, we have been able to work with MAX, the Midwest Arts Expo. We've been able to work with APAP, and we've been able to work with WA, where we got to do some kind of really new, groundbreaking stuff, going out and being somewhat live commentators and creating a daily morning TV show while also populating certain things onto their social media throughout the conference, and just kind of giving an outside perspective to how that conference was functioning on a day-to-day basis. And I've enjoyed so much of this and so much of what has been put in front of us throughout this process.
Absolutely. But through that process, we have also met a lot of people and talked about the podcast and talked about what people want to see, what people want to learn more about. And it's caused us to do sort of a deep dive on what we're currently doing. And are there ways that we can expand this to better utilize our platform to reach others, help others, and sort of navigate our industry? So with that, we have decided we're going to make some changes. And so part of that is updating the format. Now, it doesn't mean our standard format where we're going to interview somebody is going away. It means that it's going to be there, but with some other additions. So what you're going to hear more often is a topical discussion amongst our hosts of the No Business Like team. For instance, the last episode on the policy changes that are going on, that's sort of the first step to that. You're going to hear some other things, maybe on a, arts in the news, or maybe there's just a topic that we're passionate about that we want to talk about that week. And so that's one thing you're going to hear. Another thing you'll hear are panel discussions with outside panelists hosted by one of the No Business Like team members. And these will be a wide variety of topics as well. Sometimes, again, just things that we're interested in, or sometimes things that our guests are interested or our listeners are interested in. So we're just going to be updating some things and trying some new stuff, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and we want to hear from you on that as well.
And I mean, Kevin kind of touched a little bit on how and why we're making these changes, but we really want to look at how we are best serving the industry as a whole. Part of that, in our opinions, is lending our platform to some experienced voices with a lot of expertise in a certain field through those panel discussions. We also think that this is a way that we can dive deeper into some real issues that we are facing throughout our industry today, have some substantive conversations to help move our industry forward, or even just highlight something that's happening and bring more awareness to what's happening.
Yeah. So to do that, we also need your help. We've got some great listeners that have been listening to us, from the beginning, and I've listened to every episode. We have some new folks that are, joining us now, and we have folks that just sort of listen when they have a guest that they like or that they know or they want to know more about. But for all of those folks, we have a survey that we are putting out. You'll find that linked in our show notes. You'll find it on our social media. Please take some time to fill that out. We're trying to figure out, how long do you want our episodes to be? What topics are you interested in? What's the best way to reach you, whether that's social media, or is it maybe an email? Is it, we want to hear from you to find out those things. So survey in the show notes on our social media. Help us shape the next 2.5 years of this podcast.
And with that being said, we will see you again in coming weeks in different ways, in different formats, trying to bring you the best of what we can within our industry and bring some topics in front of you that will hopefully both challenge you and inform you. So with that being said, we'll see you next week with a new episode of There's No Business Like.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to There's No Business Like. Our producers and hosts are Brian Zelmer, Josh Benson, Kevin Maynard, Katie Miller, and me, Danielle Van Hook. Views expressed in this podcast are ours alone and are not reflective of the organizations we are a part of. Keep up with us at nobusinesslike.com. There you'll find links to all of our episodes and socials. If you like this podcast, give us a like, a follow, a review, or our favorite, a 5-star rating. Oh wait, what was that site? I got it, don't worry. It is nobusinesslike.com. Do I sound out bus-I-ness every time I type it? Yep, sure do. Stay in touch, my friends.
And I'm Kevin Maynard with opening nights in Tallahassee, Florida. Nope, I got to restart that. It really threw me off. Okay, one more time. See what happens when we cut the riffraff out of this?
Yeah, no shit.
Do you want to take that again? Because it's Midwest Arts Expo.
Nope.
I mean, it all sounded good except for that one.
That one word.
Similar. Nope. Another thing you're going to hear is panel discussions hosted by. Nope. Cha-cha-cha.